Okay.
Hi, Pari.
Hi, Scott Lemrell. How are you?
Good. You noticed I just started recording so we can start the show. We call it,
Yes, well,
but I want to make it clear this is not about entertaining people. Anybody on earth can do that kind of stuff through TV and film and entertain the noodles out of them all day long, life year after year for 100 years, and they still won't be free or know much more than they know now. The real thing about this work is to get people to have direct experience. To do that, you have to encourage people who don't remember who they are to actually lift a finger to do something they haven't done their whole life with how they imagine things. And they have to step out into a new direction and actually try some of the things that are displayed and demonstrated for them on these shows. If they just listen to them and eat popcorn, it's not going to do them a damn bit of good. Any of them. They need to actually exercise dormant higher faculties they haven't used in maybe, let's make a big statement. How about 500,000 years of lifetimes? Most people that are living on Earth today don't remember who they are, haven't used their higher faculties of their true nature as an Atma, as a being, for tens of thousands or hundreds, even millions of years. And that needs to change. And it can happen right when they're living a life on this planet as backward as planet Earth is. And it's pretty backward. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the planet, the waterfalls and birds and animals and all that, and the ocean's great. The people living on it are nuts. I don't mean to be rude or unkind, but let's face it. The mass of people on this planet, in governments, classified people, and the mass of people outside of those communities, don't remember who they are that is in the body or how they got to be on this earth with no memory of what they knew before they were born here. And you have people trying to run this world who have so little access to their own higher faculties, their real faculties. So we want to help them recover those faculties. That's why we do, that's the only reason I do this with you. That's the only reason. Nobody said it would be easy. I didn't promise anybody a rose garden and a walk in the park with fairies and daffodils and beautiful fluffy clouds and all of that. No. What I do demonstrate for people is how to use their higher faculties properly to untrap themselves from the trap they're in on this planet. Not just this planet, but the fact they have a body living on different dimensions. This one Atma that they are is running, and they don't even remember what they are. And they need to wake up all that if they're ever going to gain real freedom as a being. See, ultimately, it would be best if people could incarnate, let's put it this way, they could select the body they like on a certain planet, have an agreement with maybe a man and a woman there who are also completely conscious, able to get out of their bodies and have a chat and look at the future and why they would want to be together and for the good of all life. And then they would do it, because that's the way it's done on other worlds that are normal. That is not planet Earth. Not anywhere near it yet. But planet Earth and its people have the potential to get there, especially now. I have never had any need to have say a PhD from a university on this planet, because the only thing taught in those institutions are theory. Some fact, but mostly theoretical. And I have no use or need or desire to have anything to do with theories or theoretical data. I have enough PhDs from other worlds, so to speak, that have real meaning in that people apply what they know about the multiverse to craft they build or to worlds they run by understanding in advance what energy is behind matter that keeps this whole universe afloat. If you can't work with that, you ain't going to be advanced very far. Certainly not with anti-gravity crap that can go from here to another galaxy You'll never get there in rocket ships. You wouldn't even get there in anti-gravity craft unless the being running it could operate on a multidimensional conscious level. Because the circumnavigation to get from point A to point B faster than the speed of light in huge ways requires the ability to see and understand, circumnavigating through different vibrational planes of existence. It's just that simple. There isn't any way to build a craft with a materialistic mind, with the things we have on planet Earth, build it out of metals and put it together and somehow make it go across the universe with nuclear fuel. Baloney. Cannot be done. Will never be done that way. What technology people have in the classified arena on this planet was borrowed, or I don't want to say stolen, but from crashed craft, or given to people on Earth under treaty, classified. Nobody on this Earth learned how to do anti-gravity on their own. Nobody on this Earth learned or discovered suddenly out of nowhere in the 30s how to build a nuclear bomb. That's information that was in a corrupt way leaked to this planet by tyrants. And they were caught doing it. So none of this that we have right now was really earned by the culture of people on this Earth. It was either given or provided or traded, or somehow they acquired it and reverse engineered it one way or another. That is the retarded, slow way to go and grow in the universe, because it means people are so arrogant and self-righteous on Earth. They don't want to know about the vast nature of race and other worlds, because then they would have to acquiesce. They'd have to give up their negative way of thinking and imagining and controlling things, because that's the only way people on this Earth are ever going to acquire that higher technology, when they're capable of utilizing it in a kind, benevolent way. No other way. That's important, and it's a protection for people on Earth. So if the planet Earth and the solar system we live in is quarantined, and it is, and not by bad guys, it's to protect us from ourselves. Because the way people have been made to forget who they are as a being, not a body, and how to run their higher faculties as a being. Because of that, people on Earth are very dangerous, destructive, fear-driven, subconsciously fear-driven people. They want to take that out in space and project that on people who are not, and think they're all going to work together in a happy community. No. Isn't going to happen. People on Earth need to go through a transformation, a change to becoming normal, because they aren't. They're not. How can anybody arrogantly strut along the planet Earth and say, I'm normal? And you ask them, do you know what you are that isn't a physical body, the real you, that isn't matter? It's energy, but not like you understand. They say no. Or have faith in something. If you ask them, well, do you remember what you knew before you were born on this planet? They say no. How can that be free will? It can't be. It isn't. They don't have enough faculties at their disposal on Earth to regulate and operate free will. Which means a lot of the decisions that are being made on this planet are being made from subconscious-driven terror implanted in them. Not with their consent either. So this is what we're working on reversing from off-planet, out among the stars and other dimensions. Because we are. We're not asking people on Earth to get up to it and for permission to whether or not we can do it or not. It's already being done. Way beyond the little populace on planet Earth. People on Earth are going to have to get in sync, in harmony, with much more advanced races out among the stars if they intend to play there, openly and freely. This is just common sense. Can't let people from Earth travel out in the stars in big ships with borrowed technology they didn't earn, take nuclear stuff and radioactive and weapons out there and go and meet other aliens and see if they can get along. Because subconscious fear would cause them to do things, create wars, blow up the first thing they didn't understand. It won't be tolerated. It's not going to be tolerated. Not ever. I'm very firm about this because we want people on Earth to grow up and have all these things and be free, but not with all that subconscious negative garbage. You can't take split governments, joint space programs, go out among the stars when you're lying to all the people on this planet 24 hours a day about everything dealing with extraterrestrials. That's not going to be tolerated, and it never will be, because the beings out there won't tolerate it. Lying, deception, dishonesty creates negative repercussions in space-time that come back to the people doing it one way or another, sooner or later. It's pointless. It's not constructive. It has no future because it creates negative events in space-time that will come back to the people doing it. We don't want that. Nobody in their right consciousness would want that. And the people running the world today don't really want it either. I know some of them. They don't want this lying, this, classified stuff to go on forever, because it is always destructive, sooner or later. And then they have to try to spend money and cuss it up and try to cover it up and shuffle things around to try to fix it. And it can never be fixed. It's perpetual. As long as people continue to put out those kinds of energies, they'll continue to experience negative repercussions for doing it. Their family's health, the longevity of their lives, the same fears they live with, dominating the people on this planet, supposedly for our own good, is a crock of nonsense. It's no longer valid, and it should be done away with permanently. For the good of the very people running things right now, really, as a matter of fact. Law of physics, the law of physics. You can't get around karma. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. By shuffling the cards a different way, it'll still come back the same way, no matter what you do. It's a law of physics. Put out this mental imagination of suppression, domination, lying, deceit. It comes back and topples the people doing it. Shown throughout history. And this is a kind of a repetitive way of living, life after life, that beings have been doing on this planet and other worlds for countless ages. It's a complete and utter waste of time. You want to know when karma and reincarnation ends for people, unconscious birth and bodies and all that? When they drop it. Stop giving it energy. Stop worshiping it. Stop agreeing with it. They withdraw their energy from it, from conscious awareness, how to do it, and they're no longer part of it. It's one of the things I wanted to bring up on your show, not because there's no fear or negativity in anything that I do. I will point out things that are being run through fear and negativity in order to be enlightening to people, to help them be able to discern the difference when they see something on the internet or on the news. As they wake up and recover who they are, that's not a body, they begin to have right discrimination, the ability to know right from wrong and who's lying and who isn't. And they see it for themselves. I don't have to do anything for them. They'll know it for themselves. My work is about helping people recover, having their own direct experiences with deliberately hidden truth that I've had, but in their own way. And that is being said humbly and sincerely for all the people on planet Earth, classified, royal families, government, elected people, lawyers, the mass of people on the planet, some who do know that they know there's life on other planets. All the people on Earth know that. They're just being kept from it by a few people because all of their technology is hinged on extraterrestrial science, reverse engineering development. So it's all classified. Anything to deal with extraterrestrials, good or bad, classified. Means they're not telling the public. And what's happening in the universe right now that's coming through this planet and heading their way, and they know it, is something that will change that. They can either get in harmony with it or it will roll them right over. I don't mean harm them, it will change them in more shocking ways. Because this destructive nature has got to end one of these days on this planet. Children need to be brought up knowing what life is on other worlds, going on field trips to other planets. You're not going to do that in a rocket ship. You'd be lucky to get to Mars one day in a rocket ship. You know, it's retarded in a way to think you can get around the universe in such vehicles. You cannot. Very limited, very dangerous. It's not the way to get around. And of course, people on Earth in more classified arenas know there are other ways to get around the universe that don't use radioactive materials or that don't use nuclear reactors. You know, that don't even use that type of concept for getting from point A to point B. They know it. It's very highly classified because there's also weapons, technology, and research involved in it against the bad guys overseas. That's what they tell the public. It's baloney. The bad guys overseas are working secretly with this country in classified space programs already. Somebody launches a rocket in, say, China, a new satellite. They have to tell the US and Russia when they do it, when they're going to launch, what orbit it's going into. They have to disclose this. It can't be hidden because otherwise it looks like a launch threat. Russia has to, the US does, China has to. It's the way it really works. People aren't really educated in school or universities about this. I guess this planet is on the razor's edge of annihilation or stepping off into beyond a utopian culture. Normal human beings living normally on a planet like this would not look like it does today. Men and women and children would know ever so much more about the universe they live in than they do today. And they wouldn't know it with theory or belief or speculation or debate. They would know it with certainty. When you have certainty, fear and negative emotions cannot dwell there. And they don't. The two do not mix. A normal state of a human being, not the body, the human being that runs the body, is not to have any negative emotions whatsoever. Because they're unnatural. They're artificially created and imposed on people. It's a long story, but it goes into galactic history. Wouldn't it be nice if people grew up on this planet, men, women, and children, and the children they raised knowing their own history? The first people that came from other worlds to colonize this planet under treaty, after the dinosaurs were made extinct 65 million years ago? Wouldn't it be different if kids knew what that history was and the cultures that have been on this planet? And they were taught that in school instead of the garbage they're taught now? They're taught what? A training in negative imagination. They're taught about the great cultures of our recent 10,000-year history. A drop in the bucket. Why? There was this Rome that threw people to the lions and laughed about it. What a grand culture, blah, blah, blah. How about Egypt? Another bunch of tyrants that slaughtered people. How about the Yucatan and Mayan cultures? Blood sacrifices. These cultures, these wonders of the world, were run by tyrants, influenced from tyrants from other worlds. And it's a tiny fraction of our history. There were many grand cultures on this planet that have come and gone, long before anything that are taught in schools and universities today on this earth. And guess what? You know why it's not taught? Can you guess why it's not taught? Because it's classified. Why? Because it all has to do with extraterrestrials. Duh. That's why it's not taught. Pretty silly. Oh, we can't tell our people about their own past because that has to do with extraterrestrials and they can't know. Only a few get to, for their benefit. That's baloney. They're just caught in a elitist group that started after World War II, more defined, and they don't know how to get rid of it. It's like a bad habit. So, every one of those people get out of their bodies at night when they put their body to sleep. Every last one of them. In every country on this planet. And they can be introduced to beings who know who they are in or out of bodies and can recognize a person from Earth when they're out of their body and help them recover who they really are, what they really knew, because they have the technology and the understanding, the spirituality and the wisdom to do it. That doesn't exist on Earth anywhere. And it doesn't cost anything. People on Earth need to want it. They need to be raised in vibration enough to ask for it. And then the people can come to this world and really fix this place and let the people run their own planet, but awake people who aren't running it from subconscious terror, making terrible mistakes every day of the week. That's all that needs to change here. What people on Earth call the subconscious mind is artificially created, not by the good guys. Where did they get it? They didn't get it on Earth in this lifetime. They brought it with them here. They're compelled to incarnate here with no memory. What's that got to do with history that's taught in school and religions on Earth? Well, it's not there. It's deliberately suppressed because it all has to do with extraterrestrial life. And that's the highest classified thing on this earth. Shouldn't be. The mass of people are ready to know. It's the elite group running the planet right now that are most terrorized, most afraid of telling the truth to everyone else. Because they've been lying so long, they don't know how to stop. So they're going to need some very kind assistance. And they're getting that. They're beginning to get that. It's not anybody's being harmed or pointed out or sent to jail. Everybody on this planet needs to go through a transformation to remember who they are. Then all this stuff that's here now will not be necessary. And this planet and its people can go out and really have some fun playing in the universe with others, nicely. That's all you can really say on this subject. What's underway now from beyond this planet, moving through this direction, cannot be reversed. Not from any of the lower dimensions of time and space. Something new, something designed to retire what we would call evil, which is an experiment, a failed experiment, by the way, and do away with it, like the dinosaur. Replacing it with something, an energy that makes or motivates people to create only that which is uplifting and constructive and beneficial to all life. Common sense. Why would any group of people on any planet want to do anything other than that anyway? Unless they're completely insane. Oh, let's pollute our own atmosphere. Oh, let's set off some bombs in our atmosphere that are radioactive. Let's play with radioactive materials. What sane planet of people would ever do that to their own world? Well, they're not sane. They're not operating on all thrusters. They're being driven from fear, subconscious. Fear is a negative nature. It's a negative wave. Carries negative emotion and feeling. If people dwell on that and add their personal energy to it, that omnipresent field of energy that supports the whole universe will co-create that with us. That's its nature. Our job as beings is to co-create beneficial things into it, so it only creates that. It's a learning curve thing. So you see, people on Earth need to learn how to use their imagination, what they visualize correctly, because they're not right now. They're seeing a negative fear of the future and Armageddon, and they want wonderful things for themselves and their family. And the two energies create two forces that go out in the law of physics, in the physical universe, opposed to each other. And they neutralize or ground the energy in such a way that people remain unconscious in bodies on this planet. They're doing it to themselves without realizing it. I don't blame people on Earth for it, because I know in history, galactic history, something was done to them without their consent that put them on this planet with no memory. And that needs to be undone. So that's part of what this is about with my work. That's all.
Let me ask a question. Many people heard about raise your vibration. So the question is how to raise the vibration.
The answer, demonstrated. It's the first half of the word human. Human, woman. It is a way that the being, not the body or the brain, the being running the body and the brain, you, connects to that omnipresent field of force that supports the whole creation. The dark matter of space, that mysterious force that doesn't act like nuclear material should. And they make a connection to it. And then it knows what to do with each individual once they start making that connection to unravel this tight knot of unconsciousness and fear that people in the entire planet live their daily lives in, immersed in it. It begins to reverse that. There's a kind of a new energy of consciousness running through that whole plane of force that scientists on Earth are beginning to discover exists behind matter. They call it the God particle. That is changing the way things have operated in the lower dimensions. And who was running it, dominating it, mostly of a negative nature, keeping everybody stuck and reincarnating with just dumber bricks. On a planetary scale, Earth is extremely backward. For one reason, because the poles of this planet mechanically would flip over 180 degrees every 100,000 years, just like clockwork. And that goes back into solar system history as to where that started. They ruined the atmosphere on Mars. What happened? Destroyed a planet. It's an asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter, circling in the orbit of a planet that was a planet that was blown up from the core outward long ago. It wasn't recorded in Earth history. Why would people on Earth know about it? Unless you get out of your body and go look down the time track, like I've done, then you can know about it. People from other worlds recorded it. They know about it. Wouldn't it be nice if people on Earth could finally learn their own history?
Scott, if people want to know more about this, should read you The Emerald Doorway. You know, it's great.
Well, yeah. Okay. Before we go on a journey, yes, I do sell books, because if I didn't, none of you would ever be able to get this and explore it and understand what this is, what I'm sharing with you. So I have to work with retailers, whether I agree with it or not, so that people can get it all over the world, or I could not get it to them. This radio show stuff, these journeys, there's no money involved. I don't charge anything for it. This is the Sayre's agenda. You can see this is not for sale because this is a proof copy. These are the new covers on this book. This is a ship, a mile long, cylindrical. It is a Emerald Star cruiser. These are Galactic Alliance Scouts, 30 feet in diameter, the semi-spheric pods on the bottom. Nice blue anti-gravity glow around the hulls. And that ship is stationed in the ice rings of our planet Saturn. It's there right now. It is not a ship that can be interfered with by any military or technology on Earth in any way, shape, or form. And it's here. It's not going anywhere. Okay. This is about what has changed out in the universe amongst extraterrestrial races, particularly the Sayres, the Galactic Alliance core group near the center of our Milky Way galaxy, and their master teachers and beings from higher realities. It talks about this and what's coming up for Earth. It shows it, shares it. So when you read it, you begin to have experiences. This book, the Emerald Doorway, is the first book of the Parallel Time Trilogy. There are 3 written books. This is the first published one. That, right there, is what a soul or Atma, an individual being, not a body, looks like. White core, spectrum of light, different layers from white to yellow to green to white, yellow, orange, green, blue, lavender, violet, and gold energy. Now, this, us, not the body, is in existence as a reflection of what the source behind all life is, the supreme being, prime creator, what other people on other planets call it. That is what we really look like. That was, I don't want to say it this way, made in its image. Not this. This is a higher genetic form developed by the Sayres race, the human race, very tall. It's a long story, billions of years old, that helped develop higher genetic forms scientifically that beings like that could run and run their higher faculties through them when they're set up properly, which doesn't happen on Earth today yet. And this is about what happened before the last polar shift on this planet. They are hovering on anti-gravitic disks. This is a doorway into the area beyond the void known to people on Earth. And this is what you would call prime creator being introduced to these characters by this master teacher. And this is the water and land that's just formed after the poles flipped. Lemuria, most of Atlantis, big continent at the time, destroyed. They are all extraterrestrials. These are blue-skinned human, Kalum, Etta, who's a little dren. He's a silica-based creature with big bulbous blue eyes, a green pale skin. His tail glows from the root to the tip like crystal opal in sunlight. It is an organic creature that evolved on an underground volcanic chambers on a mostly ocean-covered world where this woman comes from, Oceanon. And this little guy developed a natural ability, anti-gravitic ability, to fly through the air. An organic creature. And he's loving, courageous to a fault, has a photographic memory, dexterous little hands and fingers like a human, but he is most certainly not a human being. And there he is with his little dexterous hands and feet hovering in the air above the ground. And there's 30 illustrations in this book. If you want to know something about life that is of an extraterrestrial nature, human and otherwise, that had an involvement one way or another, good and bad, way back then on Earth, this is where you can find it.
How to buy your 2 books, Scott?
Best way is just go to my website at paralleltime.com, which will be up on this video, and my other 3 sites listed there when Pari posts it on YouTube. You can go right to Amazon, but be careful that you only buy from either Barnes & Noble or Amazon or iTunes from their proper sales page, because these guys allow third-party booksellers, you don't know who they are, to try to sell you a book claiming it's mine. It could be one of the old versions of the Ceres agenda with typos in it. You don't want that. You want to get the new one. Some of these people have actually tried to sell my books for $80. Book is $16.95. You see what I mean? And they allow this because Amazon makes money on it, whether they're crooked or not. And some of them sell used books. But don't be taken in by that, because you're going to be disappointed. You're going to get an old book. You're not going to get the latest version. You need to get either this book, 6x9, or this book, or both, also 6x9 size. Pretty interesting bad guy, isn't it, on the back cover, holding a crystal and the earth in his palm of his hand. Okay. Those books are written in such a way, visually, so that the person exploring them can begin to connect with remembering certain things. It's the way they were developed from off-world. I had help. Okay. Enough said on
For
that.
the journey, can I ask a few questions?
Sure, yeah.
In the audience. Okay, the first one from Abe. Horror. What is your understanding of the shape of our planet Earth? Sphere, flat, both flat and sphere, neither flat nor sphere, or unimportant, or is the shape relative to your own consciousness?
No. Let me put it this way. People are trying to go backwards and say the Earth's flat or it's hollow with the sun in it. They can believe whatever they want, but in my explanations, I have not found this to be true. What I do find, you see that poster you held up earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the answer. I'm not trying to put anybody else down or argue with anybody, because I don't have time, nor will I entertain it for an instant. I don't mix myself up with other people in the world promoting whatever they believe in. I just do this to help change this world. I'm not interested in debating with any of them, anything. This shape that you see here, if you understand this, then you understand the sun, the moon, and the planets are round. They were created after their creators in their image. And what we are is round energy. It isn't made of nuclear matter. It's not protons and electrons and neutrons and all that. That's the molecules that make up each division, each parallel dimension or higher dimensional realities, different rates of time rates of matter, finer particular matter in each one. They have different laws that work them. This right here, round, is the shape of the Earth. It's foolish. I mean, get above the planet out of your body and look at it for yourself. You're going to buy on things you hear on the internet, on this world. You're going to be struggling the rest of your life with deliberately revealed truth and deliberately misdirected deception in equal measure on the internet and out in the world. It's done deliberately so that people study this stuff, mix it all up together, and still remain in doubt 40 years later about everything. You can't find truth for yourself from data from outside. The being has to wake up enough to know it for themselves with certainty. So I say, regarding flat or round, find out for yourself. Explore it. Don't just listen to what someone says. Have your own experience. Then you'll know. That's my answer.
Okay, and the next question from Carol McRoy. Can you explain about the activation through the heart to the pineal gland? Does this include the connection to the energy of the kidneys, which then transform our energetic body, which raises our vibration and expands our consciousness?
I don't even know how to answer that, because they're asking me a question that's mixed with kidneys, the heart, and the pineal gland. I'm talking about the physical body, a genetic two-stranded form on Earth. First of all, you are not a two-stranded genetic body on Earth. Who's ever's asking the question? You're that.
Atma.
And it runs a two-stranded genetic body. If this wakes up, it can change what that DNA is. That's my answer. You try to change it from the pineal gland or this body as a body, thinking you're a body, you will fail. It will not work. Because the being, you, awake, has to change that. The personality you grew up with, the brain that you grew up on this planet, only has in it what you experienced on this planet. In all the other billions of years that you were in, and you were, occluded, suppressed, no memory. You need that to change that. Does that answer it?
Yes, good answer. Thank you.
It's practical. The new ray in the hue, which I've introduced for the first time, out in the universe and on this planet, and I'm not joking about that. I don't get into any of that right now, how that came about. But I'm bringing it to the awareness of people on Earth for the first time because it's a type of energy that will allow them to advance in ways they were not able to for the last billion years. They don't remember. The Atma is comprised of an energy exactly as Prime Creator, the Source, on a smaller scale. Same faculty, same characteristics, same energy. We are expected in eternity to be conscious, trustworthy co-creators with it, not slaves under it, not worshipers of it, because that source that I visit beyond the void never requested or required that we worship it ever. Only one thing that's required in any of this: respect the source you come from and each other and all life in the grand multidimensional universe. And if you can do that, you can freely play in it. That's it. There's no shortcut, no way around that. We have to be real about it. We have to actually respect all life out there. To do that, people on Earth need to know what that life is on all the levels, or you can't respect it. That'll leave them stuck in a limited condition. So we don't want that. We want to unlimit the stuck things that are going on this planet for everyone. Animals, plants, life, mountains, trees, oceans, water, air, people, everything. It's all about vibration. Everything is vibration on one level or another. Understanding the science of vibration unlocks the keys to the universe. Period. And it starts with sound. If you lower the sound vibration of the original source energy low enough, it becomes visible light, and the sound is still behind it. Well, let's go on a little journey, one that will demonstrate a little bit of how this works when all of you are out of your body at night, when your bodies are in the trance state called sleep. Here's the thing. You're all doing it every night anyway. And most of you don't remember what you're doing. You wake up in the morning or where you've been. Sometimes you have dreams, sometimes very clear, sometimes very distorted. And after years and years of this, it's hard for any of you to make head or tail or heads out of any of it. You know what it means, these pieces and bits of things you bring back. To really begin to bring back what you do, like experts that you all are, when you put that body to sleep, you don't realize consciously the complex nature of the science and the spirituality that you understand unconsciously. Because you have to cause the pineal gland in the center of the brain of a human body on Earth to secrete serotonin and melatonin and other things have to happen. So the body will go into this sleep state and snore, whatever it does, and the lungs and the blood and the heart will all work. And there's a connection, an energy connection through the pineal gland from the white core of your being that is not breakable like a silver cord or a golden cord or an astral cord or any of that. There isn't any form of negativity or beings in or out of bodies that are negative or any misuse of advanced extraterrestrial or other technology that can affect that connection whatsoever, because it isn't material in nature. It's not nuclear. It is telepathic. When the white core of who you are communicates through the you to the white core of the source directly, it begins to see you and be aware of you for the first time in maybe billions of years as an Atma, not a body. There are countless beings from other worlds and other realities that have the training and expertise and experience when asked to know how to help people out of this trap they're in on this planet. But they aren't tyrants. They're not going to force it on anyone. I always ask people to be comfortable in a chair or laying down. They do it every night when they lay the body in bed anyway. So think of it as the same process, because it is. Except that because I'm operating as a guide, I put my body in the same trance state called sleep, because I've learned, I've had the training and the understanding and the wisdom to know how to do this, and still talk with you or be aware of you on Earth or go on this Zoom session while I'm out there traveling and guiding you where you're going with others who I invite of very advanced natures who can see you all for the first time, begin to work with you at night when you're out of your bodies in more practical ways to help you remember more when you wake up. I do this. I request that people put this one very well-structured statement and send it out telepathically. I mean with their thought, not their voice, but with their eyes closed. Why? Because when the eyes are closed, vision on any light is coming in from the outside is turned off. The brain that runs vision and interprets things is off. And when you start to see what I described, it is a part of you that's seeing it that is not the brain or the body. The eyes are off. The brain connected to that is off. So when you see imagination, you see other realities, you're actually seeing it as the Atma, hovering above that body, running it. The sooner all of you become aware of this great truth, the better off you're going to be in every imaginable way. This process helps people develop and recover who they are and acquire the wisdom to know how to keep it and never be vulnerable to being trapped or tricked by tyrants again, ever. This one way. The new ray and the hue does not work with or in the dual nature of the positive and negative streams of energy in the lower dimensions. It does not mix with it. It is mastery over it, above it, from before it was created, like all of us. Send out this request. If you're sincere and you really want help, send this out. Safely show me deliberately hidden truth on a grand multidimensional scale and the much greater knowing of the expansive love within it. This request is very carefully worded. I had help from Ambassador Turellian with this and others. Ambassador Turellian is 18 feet tall in a physical form when he manifests it, but he's an Atma like you or I, but very, very evolved. He is a member of the Say-Rays race, S-E-R-E-S, pronounced as if it sounds like S-A-Y-R-A-Y-S, Say-Rays. They are of a human nature, 8-stranded DNA, that developed out in the galaxies long ago, billions of years ago, and they helped populate the physical worlds in the galaxies and in the astral dimension, 2 major divisions. And they helped develop genetic forms like humans on Earth and others, 4-stranded human beings in other worlds, more advanced, and brought them up to spacefaring capability long ago, and then vanished, stood back to see what everybody would do with it. We all know the answer to that. They've recently come back into the scene in this universe and others because they went through a consciousness change themselves that's motivated them to correct this failed experiment people on Earth call evil, because it's a broken creation in the lower dimensions. Beings living in it have been trapped for ages, circulating, revolving in incarnations with little or no memory. And this is stultified or held back the entire creation from going in a new direction. And it is inevitable that it's going to go in a better direction. The whole point of the physical galaxies, the billions they see through the Hubble telescope or radio telescope, the purpose for it, the reason for it, is so that that physical universe and the astral, causal, mental, and etheric, these major divisions below what is known as the void, were designed to one day become mirrors of the upper worlds that exist beyond the void. There's no negative and positive nature there, no cause and effect, no time and space. So this is what's underway now. It's a lot more than just extraterrestrial awareness. A lot more. I will begin these hues, which I send out telepathically, even on this show, to the listeners. And I have many friends from other worlds and other realities and master teachers that do this with me. And they hear it when you do it. So I would ask that you maybe do it with me silently in your inner safety of your own inner sanctum, in your imagination, and see it being sent out as a white light with a golden essence in a beam out into the universe. This will help you put the body in the trance state you call sleep, like you do when you go to bed at night. It'll be safe, run fine, and all forms of negativity, all negative feelings, all fear of the future, any form of fear of the future whatsoever, you leave behind, around you, in the room, turned off with the sleeping physical body. Where we're going, those things cannot come. They remain behind, for now, temporarily, turned off. When I do these hues, that is its purpose. And it connects with you living on different dimensions that you as an Atma are running that you're not even aware of. And it will get them going into the trance state called sleep so that as an Atma, the real you, can go fully aware on this journey and bring back what you experience to those forms in the other worlds and to the one you're running on Earth, to enlighten it, to expand your horizons. It's as simple as that. It is experiential. I will begin those tones now and do them at successively higher pitches. You will pick up in time on what that's done for and why it's done. There are many other beings that do this with me. I'll begin those tones now. You can hear the sound vibrating around you that underlies all creation. It is a first sound, a primordial, original, omnipresent field of energy. It is not nuclear in nature, but it is what supports and sustains and keeps floating the creation that people perceive from Earth. Planets and galaxies and stars and different parallel and higher dimensions of the same thing on different levels. I call it the grand multidimensional creation. So do others. You would feel a vibration, an uplifting energy from this, because there is no such thing, nor any possibility for anything of any negative nature whatsoever to live within or be active within the hue itself. That is quite impossible. So anything of a negative nature, whether it's subconscious fear of the future or whatever it might be, this force, this hue, will turn it off. This has to be experienced by each person for them to know the truth of it. It comes with a certain protection in utilizing it, practicing it, working with it. Again, this is something each individual needs to experience for themselves, recover, remember, awaken. The hue, the first half of the word human, did not originate on planet Earth. It did not originate in the Milky Way galaxy or Andromeda, or in the billions of galaxies they can see through the Hubble telescope or radio telescopes. It didn't originate in the astrocausal, mental, or etheric planes or in the void. It originated in multi-dimensions far above there. And so did each one of us that run a physical body, even everyone on Earth, every single last one. Some people snap, very few. Some people can't handle the pressure of being lied to and being driven by subconscious fear and being deceived deliberately on the internet, or when they snap, they go postal, start shooting things. Fortunately, very few people snap under the pressure. It's really the being that snaps, running a body. So you see, it would behoove everybody on Earth to eliminate deception and dishonesty just as quickly as they can. They will need the assistance of a vast host of beings from other worlds who know what they're doing, who are not tyrants, in order to carry out this safely on Earth with no destruction. With little or no destruction and with the least amount of harm. What I mean by that is harm's already being done to people all over the world anyway through misdirection and incorrect choices. What we want to do is neutralize that and bring that to an end, a permanent end. If people want to play among the stars on this planet, they're going to have to get in sync with and in harmony with all the vast organizations or world systems that are out there now, because space is already occupied. You can imagine your bare toes, say you're in shorts and a top, man or woman. Picture yourself about 36 years old. I don't care if you're 10 years old or if you're 90. But for this purpose, picture yourself as about 36 in a perfectly healthy, normal body, vibrant, trim, strong, And you're on a beach and it's got green emerald sand. Green beach, green sand. In a beautiful, pristine tropical setting under a blue sky. And you can feel your toes wiggling down into this fine sand of green color. And you reach down with your hand, scoop it up and look at it. And you can see that it's made of little rounded, polished emerald crystals. And the sand you're sinking your feet into is glowing with a foot of green light above it. And you can feel the energy soothing around your feet. And you can see that energy gently move up your legs, surrounding your whole body, moving up through the top of your head. You lift your head up, smiling, and you see hovering above you a sphere of energy with a white core. And then there's another layer around that is yellow. It's got little teardrop shape, luminous structures in it. And then there's kind of an orange one, then a red one, a green, blue, lavender, violet. And there's a golden white light with a golden essence kind of radiating around it like an aura. This is who you are. Manifesting this physical form that looks like you, human, made of energy. That green sand is not on Earth, the Earth you know, and yet you already were putting your feet down into it. How is that possible? Your eyes are closed, the vision is shut off, but you're imagining this just like you would daydreaming, or wishing you were someone else when you're bored. Sitting in an office, looking out a window, and your eyes see what's out the office, but you're imagining being somewhere else. The brain in that body and the eyes seeing what's outside the window are not capable of seeing what you're imagining. The Atma, the real you, hovering above this body with your feet in the green sand, is what is capable of seeing what exists in the grand multidimensional universe for itself by direct experience. People on Earth are not brought up or trained in any way, shape, or form to understand how to use their higher faculties of the creative imagination or what it's for, and that it does not originate in the brain. There's no camera, motion picture camera, and projector screen on which you can watch things you imagine in the brain within the skull of a human being. That's not its function. It does not do that. You, the being running that body, maybe unconsciously, are capable of it. So you look down and you wiggle your toes in that green sand, and you wonder, where is this green sand? Well, picture yourself hovering above your physical body. You're sitting in a chair, lying down on Earth, you're familiar with. And now that you can imagine your feet in another energy form that looks like you, and the sphere that you are, the Atma hovering above it. Now be the Atma hovering above your body near the ceiling, looking down on it in the trance state called sleep, same way you put it in every night. And smile kindly down on that form. Then find yourself in the atmosphere at 5,000 feet or 5,000 meters above where you live on the Earth. And look around you, and you will see another sphere to the left or to the right or behind you or in front of you. And I am there, Pari is there. Husband and wife teams from the Galactic Alliance are there, out of body, as the Atmas. And my friend Terrellian is there. And here's how you identify him. In the center, between all of us that are in a circle around him, you see a luminous, bright Atma. And then you see a body appear in front of it, about 36 to 40. Long blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, a little larger than humans on Earth, slightly pointed ears, and he's wearing a kind of a gown, looks like a Greek god. And he's standing in there in sandals, right in the atmosphere, beside who he really is as an Atma. This is the physical form he had before the Sayres race immortalized their forms by dematerializing them, withdrawing them into the white core of their being, the spherical being they really are, and storing it in one of those little teardrops out in one of those layers. When they move around the universe, not obstructed by the laws of physics or the laws of the lower dimensions or the laws of time and space or the speed of light, they can go anywhere instantly and manifest a full body that's physical that you could touch if they needed to. And they mock it up out of the energy of the underlying omnipresent field of energy that surrounds all life. They recreate it instantly. They immortalized their physical bodies as a race over 1 billion years ago. This is a friend, someone who is back on the scene now, representing, co-creating with the source behind all life, to help retire this experiment of evil we talked about, this broken, failed experiment. Everybody knows it is on Earth. This whole good, bad thing and right, wrong thing, it's been going on forever, hasn't changed anything in ages upon ages. Then find yourself in space. Remember, you are a spherical being now. And you can float in this atmosphere that is no atmosphere, in the void or vacuum of space, looking down on planet Earth, with all of us, Torelling in the center, I'm beside him, and then Pari is there and many other beings. And we'll get into describing who they are and why they're here. And when you look down on Earth, from here, you can see that you are hovering in the void of space. And from all the pictures you've seen from the Hubble telescope, NASA, or anywhere else, they always show the void of space as a black background with billions of stars, the planet Earth and the moon. To the Atma, it is not black at all. It is a white luminous light with a golden essence in between the moon and the Earth and the sun, the other planets, other stars, other galaxies. The dark matter in space is not dark at all to the Atma. To physical eyes and their limited capability to perceive a short spectrum of light, it appears dark, but it actually is not. That energy that fills the void of space everywhere is a living, moving energy. It's an omnipresent field. It connects us all together, and we are connected to it. And it connects to other higher dimensions, all the way to the source from whence we all once came as spherical beings, not bodies. When you look at the Earth from here, you can see the billions of stars around you in every direction, and a white field of light with a golden essence humming through it all, supporting it all. You look at the Earth and you can see polar ice caps, the continents you're familiar with, and the moon with its craters on it, no atmosphere. And then suddenly you'll see Torelli and I will do something, and you'll see the image of what you're seeing of the Earth suddenly change, like a little heat wave goes over it, ripples through space. And now you see an Earth in the same place, but it's not the same. It has no polar ice caps. It's covered with ocean. There's one huge continent centered over the equator, from the left hemisphere to the right. Goes up towards the North Pole, about a third of the way from it, and comes down the other side. Curves down below almost a third of the way from the South Pole, and continues up to the left hemisphere, covers half the planet. You can see Lemuria in golden letters appear on the surface, then it fades away. Because this is a Lemuria in a higher parallel dimension of the physical universe, 3 levels up in time rate, molecular time rate. And it is a world that has no pollution in the air or the water, no radioactive isotopes, nothing going on that way. And you can see the moon now has an atmosphere. It's green and verdant. There are waterfalls and lakes and rivers and 5 domed cities on the surface, no polar ice caps. And as it turns on its axis, you can see 2 or 3 more domed cities in the mountainous region on the backside. And it's turning on its axis, that is, it revolves around the Earth, a normal moon. And when you look down at this sphere and see this landmass curving down towards the South Pole and curving up, you see a crescent-shaped, emerald green, glowing, sandy beach from space. You can see it. And the next instant, you find that you have your feet sinking down in that emerald green sand of that beach that curves like a crescent moon. And you can see Turellian, if you look behind you, standing in knee deep out in the ocean in an 18-foot tall body, smiling, giving us thumbs up. That's what he does. It's encouragement on a deeper level. It's telepathic. And then you see Pari and myself. We're also there with our feet, bare feet, sinking in the emerald green sand. If you look above us, you see a sphere of light, an Atma, the real me, hovering above that body. And you can see several hundred other people, men and women from different world systems, and Atmas hovering above them, putting their feet in that emerald green sand. And you can see the energy move up their legs, up their torso, and up into the white core of their being, and then out to the green layer where it gets stored. This green energy is a gift from a race in the physical universe from another planet. And it is about memory, recall, and recovery. We do quite a bit of this in these radio show sessions now about this beach and this parallel dimension because it's nearer to home. It's a grounding of an earth and a moon that has no negative nature on it whatsoever. And you can go here and get recharged whenever you want. Always remember to do it because you want to do it to be a co-creator with the source behind all life, to bring about new ways of doing things for the uplifting benefit of all that exists. This is the right attitude and the right way to approach higher beings. Then you look inland, you see this curved crescent-shaped beach and these tall jungle trees. There's a brown path 3 feet wide right in the back of the middle of the crescent. It goes straight back. And it's a kind of a moist brown moss-covered path 3 feet wide, goes back a mile and ends in a very round marble white floor. We're going to find ourselves as a group hovering as spheres around what's standing in the center of this 100-foot wide marble floor, surrounded by tall, 4-foot tall lavender grass. And there's a scent in the air that smells like gardenia and lavender, and some other scent you can't put a finger on. It's in the atmosphere. When you look up, you see a crystal clear blue sky, and you know there's no polluted nature in this atmosphere whatsoever. Nothing in the ocean, a mile away, down that brown path to the green beach that you can still see glowing back there. Turellian, you can see him standing in the water, and then his body vanishes. And that sphere darts across the jungle and comes to hover above a statue of a woman standing on a blue square pedestal. The woman is about 10 feet tall. The statue is made of polished quartz. 2 big wings like an angel extend behind her back. They aren't from an angelic order. They represent the ability of the Atma. If you look up, you can see a sphere of light hovering above this statue. And this is the being that the statue represents, because this is the physical form she has on her world. When you look at it, she has slightly pointed ears and long silver hair. It looks like silver metal. You can see an image of it right inside the transparent surface of the quartz. And violet eyes, beautiful. Longer neck, longer fingers than someone on earth. She's 10 feet tall. There's a gold band around her forehead and an emerald cut faceted teardrop shaped stone set in the center of it between her eyebrows. When you look into this clear quartz statue, you can see the image of a face and body of a woman standing a few inches inside it. Looks like the statue itself. And then she just floats backward until she is standing in the middle of a beautiful pale green atmosphere. You can see it somewhere in an interdimensional arena because this statue is a device. It's an interdimensional doorway. And you get drawn. You can see Torellian will simply hover down inside the statue, and you can see him hovering suddenly in the distance, standing in an 18-foot tall body with the Atma hovering above it next to this woman. And you can see who she really is, the Atma hovering above that body. Then suddenly you find yourself inside this huge stadium-sized atmosphere, and you're floating in it. And this beautiful woman points off into the atmosphere, and you see a world appear like a hologram. It's a big world, 4 times bigger than Earth, covered with water and land all over its surface, no polar ice caps, dome cities in various places around the surface. And there are 3 moons orbiting this planet. You can see the size of Earth at different distances, all of them with no polar ice caps, continents and land masses with dome cities. When you look at one of the big dome cities, the center of the equator of this world, the big one, you can see 3 golden 4-sided pyramids with quartz caps inside these domes. And you can see lakes and little walkways inside them and little white marble pathways and ivory-colored dome dwellings. And then you look into the distance and you see 3 suns that these planets orbit. One is a blue giant, young blue hot white star. Another one is a yellow one, like our sun, and one's a red dwarf. At different distances from the big blue one, and these worlds circular. This is a trinary system, and it exists on 180 degrees on the other side of our Milky Way galaxy. This woman has been sharing with you her planet Zeontranomon 1. She is of the Zeontranomus race. And then standing beside her appears a man, a little taller, silver hair, violet eyes, her mate. These people are the leaders of their world systems, and the bodies you're seeing that they have on that planet, standing in this interdimensional portal, this doorway, are 3.5 million years old, unaged. This is a different type of immortalization of a human form. This means that they have mastered genetic science, and they know that the genomes on DNA are switches operated by precise frequencies. You turn them all on, and you can set up living in that body for 1 million years. Humans on Earth could recover in such a way to do this as well, like humans on other worlds do. She's simply showing you this so that you'll be aware that she is a being who knows who she is that isn't the physical body, like her husband. And they're able to do this because they know who they are. These are beings who have a physical life on a physical planet in our parallel dimension where the Earth is you're familiar with, on the other side of the galaxy. We're going to take a journey. But first, let's get above this angel statue. It's not an angel, remember. This is a woman from another world. The wings represent her ability as the Atma hovering above it to fly freely in different dimensions across time and space, easily, effortlessly. So find yourself hovering above in the atmosphere around Torellian, looking down on the statue of this woman and the white marble floor and the blue, lavender grass. And then this, you see on the other side of it, this moss path. This brown moss path continues, winding its way up the side of a mountain to a lower plateau where there is a huge clear dome covering 3 4-sided golden pyramids with quartz caps that are radiating light. And above the dome, up the mountainside, 2/3 the way towards a single snow-capped mountain, is a cavern opening with a blue-green luminous water pouring out of it, dropping thousands of feet down behind the dome where it becomes a river and winds itself between blue-green forest trees in a forest surrounding the backside of the mountain. In the dome city itself, in the front of it, facing the ocean, are 3 2-inch tall blue disc landing pads, and there are 3 galactic scouts parked on them, 30 feet wide, a blue-gray metal with a cobalt blue, almost transparent top, and 3 semi-spheric pods on the bottom and 3 little tripod legs, and they're landed. They are from the Galactic Alliance, the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds, located near the galactic core of our Milky Way galaxy. And in the dome are master teachers from beyond Earth. And they do work there to prepare the world you're familiar with and the barren moon to become like this world and its moon. It has been here for ages. Beings can come and go there without being interfered with from anybody on Earth, and can come into our reality to help or assist others to recover. This is the work that's underway in that dome city now. Then find yourself above the planet Earth in space again, floating as a spherical being. You don't need to breathe. You don't feel cold or hot. You can't be harmed from radiation from the sun because you're not material. You are an energy that is not nuclear. A hydrogen bomb could go off under this group in space and it wouldn't do a thing to us. When you look up, you see a vortex begin to form in the white mist with a golden essence that is the energy filling all of space between the planet Earth, the moon, the sun, the stars, other galaxies. And it forms into a blue, violet, green tunnel, a mixture of light, whirling slowly clockwise, and it creates an opening, a vortex from the physical universe. All the way up the other end, you can see a blue atmosphere. And in an instant, we find that Torellian and all of us and 200 other beings from the Galactic Alliance, men and women of different races, move at like the speed of light up this shaft of energy that looks like water, glowing, but it isn't water. And we come out the other end and find ourselves hovering in a beautiful blue atmosphere. We have just gone up a connective doorway between the physical universe, across the void known to some esoteric groups on Earth, far beyond it, above the 5th realm. And we are actually in an atmosphere in a special dimension between the 5th and 6th realities above the void, the first of the upper world regions. We're going to take a little visit. When you look around you, you're going to see a blue atmosphere surrounding a huge circular landmass. There are 6 snow-covered mountain peaks centered in the center of this circular landmass with snow caps. Out on the circumference of this entire circular landmass is a white glowing beach. Tropical energy, trees and things near the outside edge of the sandy beach that surrounds it. And then this landmass is floating in this blue atmosphere. There are no moons, no planets, no suns, no stars. It is a specially created place for beings to journey to get to it, usually with a guide who knows the terrain, where a being can begin to co-create, discover how to co-create with others new ways of doing things for their benefit and the benefit of all life in the lower dimensions. That's the purpose of this place. It is the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. It did not exist in the upper worlds past 7.5 Earth years ago, maybe a little longer. It was built for a purpose. When you look down, you can see off to the west, about 1/3 of the way down the mountainside, in a clearing, a tall, transparent, glass-like tower, smooth as glass, rising up from a wide marble white floor. Goes up to a kind of a flattened spherical administration area, transparent, and then continues up to a point. At the base of this white marble floor surrounding it are roadways that extend in every direction like the spokes of a bicycle tire. They go through caverns in the mountains, tell the other side of the mountain range, and continue in a straight line to the beach all around this entire creation. If you look down the Western roadway, past this blue glass administration tower, you'll see that that road ends on a glowing white beach. And to the left and right, as you go down the road, there are little white roadways turning off and going into clearings. And there are different crystal-like, spherical, octagon, pyramidal, and different structure and buildings in beautiful botanical surrounding gardens that are individual teaching centers for Atmas to come here to recover who they are and what they once knew before they were found themselves on earth with no memory. To change anything in the lower dimensions on earth, it has to first be changed here in the upper worlds. You can see that down between the mountain peaks, on an island, down in the basin, the curved basin of these 6 mountain peaks, is an island on a little white marble floor with a kind of a rectangular blue gold-laced stone with a cobalt blue sphere, transparent, glowing, hovering above it. And then there's a blue-green kind of a lake glowing around it. And then there's the mountain peaks. This is the center of this, the nucleus of this creation. And energy from a plane above here comes down into that cobalt blue sphere, and it's sent down into the lower worlds. And we're going to go through that sphere. All of us are going to dart down in between the mountains and come to surround this sphere and then move inside it as Atmas. And when you do, you're going to be sent down a spiral tunnel of energy until you find yourself hovering above a fountain in a white marble stone clearing with a concentric circles of botanical gardens. And we are in the plane just below this special Hue Expansionary Academy. We are in the 5th first plane that exists beyond the void. And there is a circular white marble stone floor, a white alabaster fountain with scalloped edges sitting on a square stone, and standing in the middle of it is the image of a being about 36 with bronze skin, bald head, 2 golden bracelets on his upper arms, a white tunic from his waist down. He's bare-chested, strong, virile. It's a statue, and from his open palms of his hands down at his sides is pouring a white light with a golden essence, filling this bowl. It's radiant, looks like water, but it isn't. It's pouring over the edges of this scallop thing and coming down into the ground and vanishing in a clear, smooth, even, radiant sheet. Off to the right to a pathway that leads to a kind of a crystal-type palace structure against a long snow-capped mountain range. Is a man standing there in bare feet, smiling at us with his arms folded. That is Satnam. It means true name. This is a being who administers this dimension, this first of the upper worlds. Although you see form here, it is not created out of time and space. You can create cause here with no effect. It's not possible for anyone to step on anyone else's toes here. It is constructed out of pure positive energy. There's no positive and negative streams here. And he is pointing to the statue of himself. When you look at the statue, it dissolves and becomes a shaft of white light with a golden essence, humming with the sound of the hue. You can hear men and women, thousands of them, with perfect singing voices, singing the hue on multiple dimensional levels. Hue, 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 all over. And then it becomes so strong, it becomes a solid, continuous tone. The high note of a flute and the buzzing of a million bees, gentle, humming. And when you move yourself as a being, he will point to it. Turelian moves through this shaft of light above the fountain and hovers inside it. And all of us and 200 other beings do the same. We can all fit inside it. And you let this white light with a golden essence flow through your being, through the white core of the Atma that you are. And you let it flow down through the universe, past the void, through the lower dimensions, until you find it is coming down through the Atma that is you, hovering above your physical body in a chair or lying down back on Earth where this journey began. And you can see yourself as a spherical being with a white core hovering above the body, looking kindly down on it. This is you. You'll see this energy, this white light with a golden essence, pour through the top of your being as a sphere. And it's sent from the white core down into the top of your head through the pineal gland in the center of the brain, and it radiates out through your brain, turning on brain cells, and then out through your entire body. And it flows like a river. This energy is pure positive. There's nothing of any negative nature in it whatsoever. And you, in the white core of your being, are comprised of it. And it's flowing through you, charging you, radiating through every pore of your body. And it moves through you for your benefit, but you cannot restrict it. You co-create with it, you cooperate by allowing it to benefit you and then continuing through you to this dark, backward world, Earth, for the good of all life here. This should make everyone experience a very uplifting kind of energy that says, I once knew this. Somewhere I once knew it. And you look down on your body, and when you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you. Thank you for the journey. I turned off my microphone, right?
I think so, during part of it. Yeah, it's okay. I want to wish everybody out there who was tuned into this journey, I don't care who they are, where they are on Earth, or what classified or royal families or the rest of the people on Earth, it doesn't matter. And it really doesn't, that they get something beneficial from this, something that triggers something and deepen their awareness. And that they have pleasant dreams tonight out of their bodies, because when they put the body to sleep, they're going to go out. By going on these journeys, people are shown or caused to remember what these other dimensions look like, how to see them visually, because you need to be able to see them. When you start a meditation or contemplation, you need to be able to see where this is, to send that in the omnipresent you that supports all life, because then it will co-create getting you there. It can't take any of us anywhere if we can't remember to see where to go beyond this Earth. So these guided journeys help to bring to the surface long lost abilities in seeing and knowing with certainty into the grand multidimensional universe. So I wish everybody that.
Okay, and if you guys don't see when go on journey with us, Scott, so keep on going on journeys many times,
And Pari, puts these up on our YouTube channel, so they're going to have my 4 websites. The main one is at paralleltime.com. If you go there, you will have an eye-opening experience for sure. Nothing's sold on these sites, the 4 that will be listed, but the links to get them at Amazon or Barnes & Noble or iTunes, the direct proper links are there, so you don't have to hunt for them. And then you can decide if you want to do. I also have a music CD with filmic type themes, really, that I'm performing. It's called Stranger on a Lost Island. And I can show you, because it was just updated, this album has a very unique cover on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see a woman with pale blue skin getting out of a boat. You can see the mirror of an atmosphere with yellow clouds on her world. She's walking up to meet this master teacher who's carrying a quartz crystal staff with an Ankh symbol on top that's a device. And he's going to take her on a journey through this opening out into our universe, and there's planet Earth. Stranger on a Lost Island album is about planet Earth. The Lost Island is planet Earth. So this and the tracks that are here, one of them is called Lemuria, you'll see it on the bottom, is also available, but nothing's sold at the site. You can go to the site and hear long snips of all the tracks too. And I just got this published in both a jewel case CD and also through CD Baby for the digital download album, and you can download individual songs or get them for 99 cents too. So that's available for people. My music is, and I'm a composer, is very intimately intertwined in my book writing and screenplay work. So you'll find why that is. So I wanted to mention that as well.
God, talking about downloading, that is a huge in your website too, right? That people can download it for free. That is very helpful.
Download what for free?
The hue, you know, that you do with the Turlian, and another one that you do it yourself.
Yeah, actually, that's the site. In fact, I'll share this with your people briefly. I'll show them how this works. I will share my screen really quickly here. And let's go into look at the paralleltime.com website so that people know exactly. Oh, oops, let's go back a little bit. Come on. What happens here at this site? This is what this looks like. This is a woman standing on a rock on another planet. Beautiful green water world up here, another one here. Up at the top, you can see books are right here. If you go to the books page and click on books, you're going to come to a page that shows you the books that I just showed you here. You can magnify these and see these spaceships running the cursor over it. You can click next and see the back cover and read it and who this character is. And the chapter titles, which are very intriguing. You can see all the links right here to get either an ebook or printed book at these different retailers. The same with this book. You can see Etta hovering here. You can see the back. That's Sendar. There's a picture of me. There's the chapter titles in that book right there. And all the links you would need. If I go back to the home page and I go to music, you're going to see the album cover I just showed you clearly here. And these tracks that you can listen to. So you can listen to those and then get it on Amazon. We're going to have a link up here in the next few days that will say CD Baby, and that will be to get the downloadable digital version or individual tracks, or you can buy the jewel case itself. So you'll be able to get both. Should be up in a day or so. There are many radio shows you'll find here that I've been on, and you can play all these and listen to what I've shared with people. And you can go to video conferences here and play these videos, one presented in Finland to a group of scientists, Hopi Indian elders, and a few others that you can watch that I've been on in past, and news, all kinds of articles under news about why some Pentagon officials believe that UFOs have already reached Earth. And you can read these articles I've co-authored that have to do with scientific research and what people are finding out in disclosure on this planet. You'll have a wealth of stuff to do. It's all free. You can contact me by going to Contact Len Riel and then put in your information, like your email or whatever, and I'll write back to you. This is about me, the Hugh.
Yeah.
Now, these are recordings of my voice singing the Hugh on 3 levels, looped. So you can hear this and work with it as a contemplation. I don't know if you can hear this. Tell me if you can.
Not yet. It takes some time to hear, I think. No.
Okay, let's try it this way. Can you hear that?
Yes.
You'll hear it very clearly. It's being done through a third party. It's being done from my site to the Zoom thing. But when you go to it, it's very clear. Put on headphones and go into it and do it with it and go on journeys. So that's for free. That's just this one website, okay? When you scroll down this site, you can play this video. This cover is being changed out with the new cover. That's the old cover. And you can watch these short, powerful videos too that I've had Jessica narrate out of New York that are very inspiring.
Have you ever looked at the stars at night and wondered what lies beyond them?
Let's put it up on YouTube.
Do you find the mysteries of deep space intriguing? Would you like to discover the deliberately hidden truth about the far more ancient Earth history and how human beings came to be on this planet? Awaken knowing certainty by exploring the Ceres Agenda and the Emerald Doorway, Book 1 of the Parallel Time Trilogy by R. Scott Lemry. Known as the direct experience-based hidden truth revealing researcher and author, Scott shares his work with fellow humans for their uplifting and enlightening benefit. His books are based upon the many awareness-expanding events involving kind off-world beings that occurred throughout this lifetime and that continue to this day. These books assist intelligent readers to uncover deliberately hidden truth about the far more ancient history of the Galactic Alliance, planet Earth, and the solar system. Readers will discover truth about benevolent and malevolent extraterrestrials and what is known to them as Prime Creator, or the source supporting all life. Start your direct adventure by exploring these eye-opening books to begin your journey into uncovering deliberately hidden truth today. To obtain your copies, visit www.totalspectrumpublishing.com.
So it gives you an idea of what's available for free at the site, some biography. The books are also here. The album is also here, Above Another Planet with water-covered islands like we went on today. Another planet out here. And you can see clearly this master teacher with his staff about to take this woman on a journey to our galaxy from this world to planet Earth. That's what this album is about. So that will allow that. And then I will come out of here now and stop sharing. Oh, I should have done one other thing. I wanted to show people that this website has at the top of it a language translator, which means if you speak, for instance, Thai, let's go to Thai, shall we?
Yes.
It's very important. It will change what's written into Thai on the website. Not in the videos because they're all in English, but all of the written material now gets changed into Thai. So you can also do that for something like, we can do Romanian, Mongolian. We can go into Russian. We can go into Chinese. So anybody can really change these and get what they need from the site. So I'll stop sharing, and that's one of 4 websites. That's the primary site.
Scott, I'd like to share this here recording. It helps me a lot because of myself. I have like a near-death experience quite a few times. Okay, yeah. And the moment before I was going to leave the body, this recording helped me a lot, you know, to calm myself down and then to experience it and go through the fear. So like listeners.
Here's the thing you're saying that's important to me and to all your listeners. You, with the hue, were able to co-create your way out of the problem. Flowing through you. That's the beauty of utilizing it. If you sit on your duff and don't work with it, you're not going to get any benefit. If you work with it, your life will change.
Yes.
For the better.
Yes.
Okay, I will stop the recording and say pleasant dreams and journeys to all of you until our next journey. And thank you, Pari, for hosting this quite unique show for the benefit.
Thank you too. Okay, bye-bye.